Salutations, my friends, and thank you for tuning in to another edition of Factions of Freedom. This is actually a new segment I'm trying to do. I'm not sure if it's going to be called Catching Trends again, Breaking News, or whatever, but this is basically for whenever we have to go over information, but we don't have the power to do so. So as you can tell, we're going to be talking about Russia because there are a lot of things going on over there. So with that being said, let's check out this video.
Отработка специальных операций при наводнении, землетрясении или авариях на электростанциях и заводах. Ровно в 6 утра Министерство чрезвычайных ситуаций объявило о старте всероссийской тренировки. Учения по гражданской обороне продлятся с 4 по 7 октября во всех, без исключения, регионах. Мероприятия проводят ежегодно в начале октября, начиная с 2012 года. Но в этот раз масштаб действительно рекордный. В учениях примут участие 40 миллионов человек, 200 тысяч спасателей и 50 тысяч единиц техники, включая авиацию.
Внимание, смена. С 6 часов 4 октября начало тренировки по гражданской обороне. Приступить к оповещению руководства Национального центра, Центрального аппарата и подчиненных подразделений. К оповещению приступить.
Тренировка началась с...
So I know I'm a little bit late as far as understanding, or at least getting onto the topic of explaining Russia readying 40 million citizens. But what I think we need to do is understand all the different things that are going on. This happened right after the whole ceasefire in Syria cutting out. Okay, that's what happened whenever, this is Russia's response, basically. This is them replying with, well, we're going to start getting ready. Let me check out this article real quick. It says Russia is evacuating more than 40 million people in drills to prepare for nuclear war after Putin's Ministry of Defense warned of, quote, schizophrenics from America sharpening atomic weapons for Moscow. Citizens have been told a war with the West could be imminent, and the Kremlin officials have said underground shelters have been built to house more than 12 million people. And I would have to agree that definitely war ties are heating up. Things in Russia are getting a lot more crazy. Like right here, check this out. Russia drafting more than 152 new soldiers. I totally did that wrong. 152,000 new soldiers. According to the main organization in the mobilization directorate of the General Staff of the Russian Armed Forces, Russia is holding a fall draft to gain 152,000 new servicemen. Another 155,000 were just drafted last spring. Via Sputnik, quote, in the fall of this year, 152,000 people will be drafted for military service and sent to the armed forces of the Russian Federation, as well as other troops, military formations, and bodies to complete it. And this was General, I'm sure I'm going to pronounce this wrong, General Vasily Plonchkov, they told reporters. So obviously something is going up. Well, at the same time, we have armaments being shipped around our own country. This took place in Denver, Colorado. I think a few weeks back. I actually didn't jump on it as soon as it hit the net. But this is what we have going on, guys. So while they're over here telling you to pay attention to Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, just know that more and more of these things are starting to happen. We're getting closer to World War III. And I'm not saying, it's right around the corner, but I'm saying pay attention to all the different things that are going on. Pay attention to what this means right here. U.S. calls off talks with Russia over Syria. What's crazy is whenever you read it from other news sources, they definitely said that it was Russia that called off the talks. And if my actual feed would reload here, we can show you guys, or I would actually be able to show you guys that, boom, right here, Kerry consults with Russians less than 48 hours after suspending the ties, right? Secretary of State John Kerry discussed the situation in Syria with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov on Wednesday, less than 48 hours after the State Department announced a suspension in the bilateral channels with Russia related to reducing the violence in Syria. The Wednesday phone call between the two diplomats, first disclosed by the Russian Foreign Ministry, raised immediate questions about whether the United States was already backtracking on its threats to cutting off ties with Moscow. In acknowledging the phone call, State Department spokesman Mark Toner defended the high-level contact, quote, they did talk about the situation on the ground in Syria. He said, my argument back to you would be it would be irresponsible for Secretary Kerry not to raise what's happening in Syria and make our concerns clear about what's happening there. Toner faced stiff pushback from reporters seeking to understand the practical extent of the suspension of ties. Quote, you tell the Russians one thing, and then you turn around and don't follow through on it, Associated Press reporter Matt Lee said. Toner said the suspension only applied to a diplomatic channel set up to sustain a cessation of hostilities in the country. So already we're having backtracks in our own country. We're hearing basically bravado. We're hearing threats with no follow-through. This is what's going on as we're speeding towards World War III, guys. That's all I really have for you.